checking the Facebook. Yeah, finally. Like, mhm. Okay, we're live on Facebook.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Anytime when you're ready.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to Say It with Love. Hello, everybody. This is a podcast where we engage in real conversations with relatable truths about teaching and, of course, anything related to education. My name is Fred, and joining me is my co host, Eunice. And today's topic is one of every teacher has wrestled with. And this has been a very consistent topic on the top of every teacher's mind. Should we tackle behavior first or simply dive straight into the lessons? Now, imagine this: you are planning your lesson and you take hours on making your, take hours in making your lesson plan, the perfect lesson, only to spend like 15 minutes, the first 15 minutes, calming the meltdown of a stolen pencil. um, it's like, does that sound really familiar to you? I mean, tonight we're unpacking this age-old tug of war, this issue about, between managing behavior and delivering content. So let's get down to it.
Oh, that is like super. It's a common thing. It's a common thing that there's a tug of war in a classroom. Now let's start with the big question: Why can't we just do both?
Hmm.
Actually, we can, but not always at the same time, right? So
Hmm.
if you actually look at research, there's a statistics that says 70% of teachers report losing 30% of instructional time to behavior issues. Like actually in real life, it could be even 50%. It could be entire class at
Yeah.
that time, depending on the severity or I would say the what what behaviors we are actually looking at. Now,
Hmm.
if we actually also get this quote from this expert, Dr. Linda Darling Hammond, she did say students can't learn in chaos, but they also can't thrive without challenge. So, saying that,
Hmm.
let us look at two scenarios here, right?
Hmm.
The behavior camp, like behavior first camp. So if kids aren't regulated, children aren't regulated, they aren't ready to learn.
Hmm.
Period. Now, if we look at Maslow's hierarchy, where it talks about safety and belonging, it comes before uh, the calculus. It means that that is the most important part. So the students have to feel that they have a sense of belonging before they even start learning, right? So this is something that I know some teachers would use the strategy to connect first before we start our class. So for my personal one is always um, make connect a little bit with the kids and observe if anyone is out of normal behavior or there are things that needs to be addressed immediately, then yes, that would be the time to address it. If there's nothing really happening, um, we could actually always look at it's always about the dynamics of the students in the
Hmm.
classroom. Yeah, so now lessons first argument. We can always argue, I prepped so long for this and I only have like this much time to teach.
Hmm.
Yeah, practically teachers are crunching time because we do have exam
Hmm.
or assessments for the students. So we need to at least cover certain syllabus until then. to enable them to be able to take the exam, to cover that certain topic. So sometimes we do run into pressure while we're crunching time, and gosh, they are not done with the syllabus yet. So how are they going to do this? Now, you see, we can rush as much as we want, but rushing into the content sometimes can backfire. So basically, if there's a you know, a tug of war happening, would you even be able to get the students' attention to,
It's really
pay
a
attention,
dilemma. It's really a dilemma,
right?
isn't it? A big
Mm,
dilemma. And this is a debatable topic because if you are to focus too much on the lesson,
mm-hmm.
ignoring the rapport with the children or rapport with the students, then you are going to lose them. In a
Yes.
sense, you're losing your students, but just by getting things done, like getting things done, getting the lessons delivered, but you're going to lose them. But at the same time, if you focus too much on behavior, correcting their behavior, you're not going to cover the lessons and the syllabus on time, and you're not going to deliver the lesson, and learning is not going to happen, and the students aren't going to benefit as much. And if they are not performing, you're going to be in deep trouble. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So the best strategy that works so far for me personally is actually going to the first class to really break the ice with the
Mhm.
students and get to know them and get them to know me, and also set expectations for the entire year. What are the, what is the school's aspirations and what we have for them, and these are the behavior, or these are the things why we need them to do in certain ways, right? So both approach actually works, however, for different scenario. So if we were to look at learning, what is learning? Learning is to gaining knowledge from school, right?
Mhm.
So
And also learning happens in and outside the classroom at the same time. And
exactly.
also there's this thing called peer learning. You're learning from your peers in
Now we're
group
not.
discussions.
Yeah, learning is just not restricted to what we actually present to them in the syllabus, in the books.
Yeah.
It's also learning of skills outside of that books, outside the curriculum, which is like social skill, like focus, self control, discipline. So these are truly the skill set that will bring them long term success if they are able to use them correctly, right? So that's why it shape when we shape their behavior naturally over time, then we can be very comfortable with lesson first approach. So it's like the first few classes will be more of managing expectations, and then if there are conflicts, then yeah, managing the conflicts would come first. So let us start at looking at the situations when we can do behavior first. So it's when you actually observe one of the students struggle with emotional regulation or social skill. Maybe you see them feeling isolated, right? They are probably seated quietly at the corner, or some of them may
Mhm.
be crying, some of them maybe, um, on the other hand, you will have this group that are defiant, disruptive, and then all over the place, and they might not even be in a class on time, you see. So if you jump straight into the lesson, what does it feel like?
Wow, I think if you jump straight in a lesson, you might just be talking to yourself most of the time.
Ex- Exactly, exactly. So, especially if we are to work with younger children, I would say younger a lot, a whole lot more, because we're managing their impulses. As we know, they're at the age of 7 to 12. They use the part of the brain that is impulse driven. Whereas as they mature, they go into secondary, they're still developing, the self control, right? Their brain is not fully developed yet psychologically. That's why there's so much more to manage in terms of behavior when they are much younger. Right. And how to really set the strategies about behavior first. Um,
Hmm.
Usually, what we do is that we set clear routines.
Mm-hmm.
We have them before a lesson. Maybe we do some breathing exercise. Maybe we do some, sometimes we do energy ball. It's like some little exercise to calm their nerves down or to get them ready for the day. It depends on the class itself. Some of them will come in like really not ready to start for the day. It's like probably they didn't have a good sleep. They want to sleep more. Then you see that they're low in energy. That one, you need to perk up their energy.
Mm-hmm.
Then we need to do something like a little bit of exercise, jumping here and there. You
Actually,
know,
I kind of like and admire schools that have that holds and conducts meditation session before the lesson, and it's during the assembly time when everyone's seated, and then everyone would just do a short a short while of meditation, closing their eyes or even massaging your eyes, and simply resting before the lesson. And I thought this is a really good way to start the day. So I'm not sure if any other school has done this, but I believe that my school back in my primary school days, I think we had a session like this where we massage our eyes, and after massaging our eyes, we start the lesson proper, and that was really good. I mean, it was really therapeutic. Everyone
mm,
has that, and it started and it lasts for I think like a few years.
oh,
That was
that's
amazing,
nice.
really amazing.
The thing that, if you see there are a lot of sleepy heads in the classroom, what we do, I used to do this with my class. Those were the days when I was teaching preschool
Mm.
children. um, what we did was like, oh, let's do an energy ball. Okay, let's rub our hands real fast together, feel its warmth, and then we're gonna roll the ball, make it as big as you can, and then let's give this gift of energy to your friend next to you. Boom, and they were like super excited. It's like, now do you feel the energy in your body? Yeah. Are you ready for the class? Yeah. Yeah. So this is how you perk up those sleepy heads. But this is not gonna work for those that are already jumping here and there
Definitely
and
not.
a high energetic group. So those one, you would have to like tone down the energy. Is yeah, the breathing exercise works. The one that you said about massaging the eyes would probably calm them down more. And also, sometimes I will ask them to, okay, let's do things mindfully. Certain exercise to do that. Yeah, we do have all these things to start. And of course, after they do the right behavior, we want to praise them so
Mhm.
that they model the right one and reinforce it with uh, with praises. Actually, in Asian schools,
Mhm.
generally we don't like to praise a lot, just like how our household is, because we are Asians.
Well, yeah, generally speaking, but I think it's good to have some words of compliments or praise from time to time. I think it works, and it works internationally and globally,
Yeah.
regardless of your race or ethnicity, because when you give your word of affirmation as a form of a love language,
Mm.
it creates magic and it creates wonders too, because um, it's part and parcel of the love language,
Yes, yes, it
part and
is.
parcel of it. So
If you actually look at the children at their age, the younger they are, the more they need to feel safe, the more physical touch they need. But as they grow older, they need more of words of affirmation.
mhm,
I mean, generally, of course, I'm generalizing right now.
yep.
We need to observe each and every individual student, how they actually respond to our way of praising them. Yeah. So Yeah, of course, this strategy will behavior first will not work for some students that are like they're looking forward for the class, and then they don't struggle with behavior. It's just that you see that they come into class, they look uninterested because they don't feel challenged. They're not motivated to learn. So instead waiting for them to behave, we start off with a very exciting lesson. We can start off like um uh do something out of the norm. Like an example, get their attention. And then they'll be like, what are you doing, teacher? That get their attention?
There
And
are
they'll,
many ways to getting attention, like from
yes.
them. And I think when you start a lesson, how you integrate behavior first and lesson first kind of strategies together is that when you deliver your lesson, the first thing you do is to have a very attention captivating uh, lead in. Like this lead in creates a moment for them to think about how you answer your questions. Like, what is one common lead in that you would actually ask your students before you start, just to get them to calm down, think about it, and then answer you? Which was that?
I think one of them is like, I said, those that came in late, please give me surrender your phone to me. They were like, what did we do? We didn't do anything, teacher. And then after that, the rest of them, they were also like, yeah, they didn't do anything. Why are you doing this to them? They feel so unfair. And they were like, I said, when everybody sit down, I'm going to explain why. They settled down. And then I said, well, what has happening right now? I want you to be aware you have been doing this. Okay. They have been walking around, they couldn't settle on time, and they were wasting time. Generally, they are not respecting my time, not respecting other people's time. So I asked them, actually guessed what did they do? And then all of them like came out with they were raising hands. I think it's because they were playing games. No, I didn't say play game was wrong. Huh? So it's not wrong, teacher? But don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean you can do it right now. Then they were like, what? And then there's one boy at the back. He said, teacher, I know why you took their phones. Okay. And everybody turned to the back and look at him. What is it? What is it? Yeah. Then this boy actually said, well, I think they didn't do the right thing at the right time. That's all. Exactly. There's always the right time to do something. I never say you cannot play games on your phone, but what are we having right now? Oh, yes, the lesson has started and you're still walking around talking to your friends, dilly dallying the class. Is it fair to all your friends that are ready? Is it fair to me that's waiting for you to settle? Look at the clock. What time is it? 15 minutes. Oh, so can I let you all go like 15 minutes later for lunch? Ah, no.
It looks like the lesson has started on social intelligence.
Yes. But it wasn't actually a social intelligence class. It was just a history class. Regardless, I took it as a time to have this real life teaching, because this is a skill set about knowing and be aware of you know of how your impact of your actions to others. So that is something that I taught that day. And you see, both can work very well. Lesson first or behavior first. They can actually be interchanged. This really depending on the child that you observe. If one child is constantly resisting structure,
Mhm.
then yes, is focus on the behavior first. Because we need to make sure they have patience, they have listening skills, they know how to regulate themselves. Yes. But if a child always gets bored easily or always acts out of frustration, then we need to engage them. Yeah, so I mean these are the two kind of approach, I guess. What's your say?
Yeah, I think I think this is exactly what I meant by combining both behavior first and lesson first methodologies together or
Mm-hmm.
strategies together, because you don't just want to focus on one or the other, going into two different pits of hell, but you want to combine them together so that you can have a more integrated lesson. You are teaching them, yes, but you're also managing their behavior at the same time while the lesson is going on. And how you're going to link that behavior lesson, that part where you're teaching them about their behavior, how you're going to link that to the relevant topic that the lesson is going to be on, that's another that's another level, that's another way of linking it. Because if you can't find, if you think that the lead in for that day itself is not going to be the one you just planned, then if the behavior is an issue, then use that behavior issue as a lead in to a more relevant topic for the lesson. Then there's no other,
Yes.
because the lead in is supposed to be the one that is the activity that you get them going. But since they've got themselves going, you might as well use that as a form of a starting point that leads into the lesson, and then later on the middle of the lesson, you're just gonna reiterate it again, like how you put a little warning, a little caution at the somewhere in the middle of the lesson, and then at the end of the lesson as a reminder. Yeah.
Mm,
But
yes.
yeah.
Well, it's people management is always the most complex thing to do, but also the fun thing to do because people are just interesting to watch. And people make choices. So about choices, students love to have the autonomy to choose. So although we give them the perception that they have the autonomy to choose, we actually kind of restricted it within two or three choices that were already pre-set for them. So they're
Mhm.
working within the boundaries that we give them. And that will make sure the lesson is way much more efficient. And also, it feels like because they made that choice, sometimes it's like, oh, I want to do activity B. Then it seems like they took up the ownership, and since they made that choice, they have to do it, right? So that is one thing I think is um, very effective for learning.
Yeah, yeah, and let's just think about the potential questions that, if there's anything that's going on in the comment section,
Mm-hmm.
take a look. Um, let's just
Sure.
hmm.
Yeah. Today we actually come in a bit early
Yep.
due to our commitment. Do we have any comments there or questions
Currently
to address?
not on Facebook. Let's take a look at some other places. What if one student derails the whole class? What if one student derails the whole class? That's the question.
Oh, okay. What if one student derail the whole class? Usually, what I would do is that I get the rest of the students um, to get into an activity
Mm-hmm.
before I pull that student out
Mm-hmm.
and speak to him or her individually. Yeah, that's. I mean, the rest of the class are still engaged. However, because the students that I have are in secondary. So if they are actually in secondary in high school, they'll be fine. But if they are like in a small class, I mean younger group of students, then yeah, you would have to still observe the rest of the class and pull this child aside to speak to her or speak to him.
Yeah.
And for adult learners, I would actually do the same thing, like my teenage students. Yeah, that would be the case. I'm not sure. How do you actually would deal with that?
Hmm. I've never taught a big class before, but I guess for my case, is more on adult learning rather than students of younger age. Of course, it'll be a challenge for me, and it'll also be a very very interesting motivation to teach such a population. But that's a story for another time. I think for me, if I were to, if I were to be in this situation, I don't know, maybe ask things like um, derailing. Let's say if a student derails a class, that's very interesting because I'm just gonna point to the to the student itself, and ask the rest of the students what they feel about this behavior.
Oh wow, that I mean, because we as an SI teacher, we try not to, uh,
Mm-hmm.
not say try,
Okay.
we avoid doing that
Mm.
because we do not want to shame our student.
Yeah, we do not. Yeah, of course, I understand that that there is this thing about not wanting to shame. I think there is this. It really depends because if the expectation has been set from the beginning that if if you have some issue in class, you voice it out, and we want to build this culture, this atmosphere of acceptance. But at the same time, if you're not, you're derailing the class and all that, we want the class to be considerate in voicing out their opinions. And so, if that is being set in stone, like I don't see the problem. I don't see the
Mm,
problem with another student telling the other student peer to peer that, hey,
mm-hmm,
they are disrupting the class. It's not as though we are judging them. It's not as though we're getting one student to judge the other student. We are getting the other person to affirm and to give feedback, healthy feedback that, hey, we're not liking this. We're not going to take this lightly because you're actually creating a scene in the class, and that
mm,
is not healthy as we go on, and you're disrupting all of us. So it's
mm,
something like a play on the dynamic, um,
mm,
and the rule that has to be set in stone first is that nobody judges. When one person give feedback, it has to be a feedback that is considerate. And that's my,
yeah.
but I'm not too sure about the social intelligence way. Maybe
Um,
you can share more about the social intelligence way, because
because the thing is, when you have, it depends on the age again.
yeah.
Okay, now, if you are dealing with teens, per
Mm,
se, they are at this stage where they are looking for their identity and they want to have the sense of belonging, looking for a group of friends.
mm-hmm.
This is not the best scenario because for them, peer pressure, when it comes in,
Cool.
it
Mm.
could be taken as a form of bullying, where it starts, where it stems to.
Feels like it.
From.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could. And we don't
That's
want that.
what I'm talking. I'm teaching adults.
Yeah.
Hence, I'm teaching adults, not
Yeah,
kids.
that's for even for adults. We want to minimize shame. We want to minimize guilt, but also we want to make sure they get the idea right. So usually, yeah, pulling them aside to speak to them individually. You will still find some students trying to eavesdrop. And excuse me, may I have some privacy here?
Mhm.
As and I'll move them away. So that they focus on that activity that I instructed them to do, and that's one way to do it. Of course, another one, if you don't want to speak to them directly by interrupting the class, you could always say, you know what, I don't like what I see right now. I don't like the behavior that I see right
Mhm.
now. I
Mhm.
will talk to you after class.
Mhm.
That student will probably get it. Yeah, he get it like, oh, I think I messed up, but I don't know what I messed up. So there's this curiosity and this little moment that this student will realize that, yeah, I kind of messed up somewhere, but I don't know what.
Mhm.
whatever. I'll just see what teacher has to say to me after class.
Yeah.
Some of them actually I forgot, like before I leave the class, then they'll come to me, teacher, what did I do? I'm so sorry. And that's when the talking is done. Yeah. So, the thing is, there's no one size fits all answer in this, whether it's lesson
Hmm.
first or behavior first. Some days you have to prioritize calming crisis, and some days you power through like a killer lesson. You just kill it with an engaging lesson. So yeah, there are times that I will dress up as a policewoman, I bring a whistle, and I walk into the class and beep. They were like,
So are you a good cop or a bad cop?
"Stop, okay." They got curious. What are we doing today, teacher? Why are you like this? I'm not teacher. I'm Sergeant Eunice today. Be in your line. Go back to your seat.
All right, Sergeant Eunice.
Yeah, so yeah, that's how student lessons are being done. So teaching is never about perfection. It's always about, it is trial and error, because we don't know the students. Until we know the students, we just know that we have to keep showing up with love, with patience, and the courage to adapt.
Yep.
It's the most complex thing to deal with people generally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree with that. Absolutely. And yeah, and really, there is no one size fit all. And in order to have an effective lesson, you've got to balance both. In fact, both are necessary, and how you integrate them matters at the end of the day. So there's no perfect lesson, only effective lessons. So thanks for tuning in. And if you resonate with what we share and you love what we share, you love our work and you want to support our work, please give us a like on YouTube and our social media platform as well. And you can visit us on our social media platform. This is the okay, the address to not just the YouTube, but also follow us on TikTok at Learn English with Fred and A New Teacher's Diary. And also do subscribe us on our YouTube channel. And it's at Fred and Eunice on YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and press the bell button. Even on Spotify to get updates. We are on Spotify, so be on Spotify. Subscribe to us there, follow us there, it's free when you tap that button, so you don't have to, but it's cooler if you did. All right, so I'm just gonna leave it as that. Eunice, do you have any last words to say?
No, again, if you want to say something, say it with love always. See ya.